everyone. Welcome to the Align Your Life show. So glad you're here. My name is Jenny Parks. I'm a health and prosperity professional and integrative nutrition coach. Here with my good friend and co-host today, who is here every third Wednesday of the month. I got it that time.
Except it's Tuesday.
Crap. Except it's Tuesday. Hey, we just changed that. That's new. All right. I'm catching up to that.
2 months ago.
Okay, 2 months ago. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. This is Heather Bischoff of Dragonfly Direction. Heather is a speaker, mentor, and offers leadership development to women and small companies. Welcome back, Heather.
Thank you for having me, Jenny.
First show of the year,
yes.
2016
yes,
for
Happy
you.
New
So
Year.
Happy New Year, yeah, absolutely. And so today we thought we'd talk about financial health. Everybody's really looking at their New Year's resolutions and the goals that they have for themselves this year. And I think a lot of times those are more focused on nutrition or health, fitness, exercising. But financial health is huge.
Yes.
And it does affect our physical health too. And it's something that not a lot of people want to talk about. Or think about, and it causes a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of people, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it really does. And I think women especially are either like all focused on, making sure that they understand where that money is because it equals security.
Yes.
Or they're just like, no, like I just don't want to know. Like let's just keep the mystery of this.
Yeah. If I don't look at it, then nothing bad will happen.
Right.
If I don't focus on it.
Exactly.
And that's really the exact opposite, though.
It really is. And there's so many great tools out there that you can use that will make it really simple for you. And I speak from experience. This is absolutely not something that I have ever enjoyed doing. I have always been like, numbers are not my friend unless they're followed by a bank account. But other than that, I've been just like, profit and loss statement, balance statement, like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like this. And so really kind of being an adult and growing up and saying, this is a part of business, this is a part of adulting, that it's important to really kind of know where you are, whether it's in your business or just in your personal life, other than kind of checking the balance of your account, thinking that that's a great place to make decisions from.
Yeah, absolutely. I read a quote as I was just kind of doing a little research for the show. John Maxwell said, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And it's such a much more comfortable place to be, to really know where your money is going, even if at first it's not.
Right.
But there's a lot of empowerment that comes along with taking control of your finances and really understanding where your money's going. And I think the more that you're paying attention to where your money is going, you're going to notice trends and things, places that you're probably spending money where you don't necessarily need to be. You can be putting that towards other things that will benefit you more, benefit your family more. And so that's kind of, I think, what we really wanted to talk about and cover today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you, specifically when you're dealing with women in your coaching business, is this something that comes up a lot, or is it something that people just really don't want to talk about?
Oh, people don't want to talk about this. Yeah. This is one of those things where, even at church, if you go to church, that is one of those things where it's kind of like, we're walking on eggshells when we're talking about money. And really, money is energy.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like, why not figure out where we're putting our energy? Because one of the things is that when you're aware and when you, even if you're not like, there's going to be people who are very detailed and they want to know everything down to the penny. My mother-in-law is one of those people. She still balances her checkbook. I don't know anyone else who does that.
Just click a button online, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. But then there's other people who just kind of want to know just an awareness, a basic awareness. Okay, this went here, this went there. But, having the information, you can make such better decisions that are much more informed decisions than kind of feeling like, well, let's just see what happens. And when it comes to money, it really is energy. And so it's kind of, where are you putting that energy? And is that energy still serving your highest and best good?
I'm glad that you brought that back to money as energy, because I think that might be a foreign concept for a lot of people. It's something that I recently heard in the last probably 2 years as I've been kind of out on my own in my business and going through some coaching. And I remember my coach mentioning to me that money is energy, and why do you worry about money? Money doesn't worry about you. And really kind of putting it into perspective. It sounded silly, but when I really thought about it, it made total sense to me, and it clicked.
Yes.
And money is energy, and so wherever our energy is focused, that's where we're going to see the greatest growth or loss.
Right.
And I think, too, it also kind of goes back to looking at where you came from, who you grew up with, who you spent the most time with in your childhood, who were the people that were your money examples in your life, and good or bad, you probably see those patterns repeating in your own life. Yes. And you can change them, especially if they're bad. They're just habits.
They really are. And it's, so often I talk to people who they allow their financial situation to limit what their life looks like.
Big time.
And that is the saddest thing to me because, money is one of those things where you can always make more money. There are things that you can do, sacrifices that you can make to live the life that you truly want to live, the life that you were called to live, that is going to make you feel fulfilled and satisfied and just like you. But so often people go back to their money situation, their financial situation, and they essentially, limit themselves and their experience here on earth because they're afraid.
There's a lot of limiting beliefs that go into that, a lot of conditioned thinking that we grow up with that we think is just the way that it is. We don't understand or see, or we're not able to grasp the concept that things can be different for me. They've never been different for anyone in my family before me. Why would they be any different for me? And sometimes you're not even thinking that clearly about it. It's not even something you're conscious about, I think.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
But it is such a limiting thing because it can be so much different. And if you just can learn to put that energy, focus it towards making some little changes and not berating yourself the whole way through and really just simplifying some things. It's one day at a time process, but you'll see that things do start to shift in a better direction.
Yeah. I think the number is like 70% of Americans pay for an external storage unit. And so it's quite interesting when you look at other countries, we have additional junk that we're paying for that is the same size as people's homes in other countries.
That we're not using.
That we're not even
paying
using.
To put it behind walls and close
so
the door
much
on
of that stuff is emotional stuff.
Yes.
It's stuff that I'm guilty. I mean, I'm totally guilty. And so I'm not calling anyone out, without calling myself out. But so much of that stuff is, there's emotional attachments to it, and that's the reason why we don't want to let it go.
When I bought my first home with my husband, I filled it with stuff. And it was a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house, and it was me and my husband. What do we need all that for? Right. So we finally came to our senses 8 years later and said, what do we need all of this for? But for 8 years, that's what I did. I enjoyed shopping. I enjoyed decorating. I enjoyed filling it with stuff and having all of these rooms that I didn't use. So I get it. I totally get that. I think a lot of people can relate to that. We have to take a quick break, but we'll come right back and continue talking about financial health. Be right back.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Back everyone to the Align Your Life show here with Heather Bischoff, and we're talking about financial health. Before the break, we were talking about stuff. It's a good starting point, right? It's really, especially if you're trying to get maybe a better grasp of your finances or save some money or make some money. Look at the stuff you've accumulated. I was sharing before the break how my husband and I had this 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home that we filled with a lot of stuff, and recently, well, over a year ago, sold, but it was in downsize and literally got rid of half of our house, probably more. But just, it was just, not only did it feel so good, just to get all of that stuff, off of, because it felt like a weight on our shoulders, just get it off. But it was just nice to simplify, to not have all of that to take care of anymore when I wasn't even using it in the first place.
Right.
But then also, when you do things like that, it's a great way to make money because you can, have a yard sale or some kind of an estate sale or something.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of options for people with eBay and Craigslist and there's many more options now than I think there ever were to sell stuff that we're not using. Obviously, you want to, maintain your safety and security when using those sites. But even if you don't know how to do that, I bet if you put something out on social media, you'd find somebody that would be able to help you, do those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that probably one of the first steps really in regaining some control over your finances or improving your financial state is really just being rigorously honest with yourself.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Because what you stay in denial of isn't going to change.
Exactly. I mean, you have to kind of really look at, is this stuff serving me? When was the last time I used it? I mean, there's so many things. There's so many resources out there, which in some instances may be the issue because there's so much that it can be overwhelming. The information can be overwhelming, but I would say, if you're looking to really kind of simplify.
I was with you.
Yeah. And,
sound like a Marine.
Yeah, exactly. Really just make things a lot easier so that you can have good financial health. It could start with your stuff, and it could be something as simple as room by room. And really just kind of setting yourself, even if you, just did one room a quarter throughout the year, you would be in a better shape by the end of the year than you are now. Other things, look at your spending habits. Are you not feeling good about your, physical body, but when you look at your account, the majority of your dinners out are at fast food. It's kind of looking at those things because sometimes we're our own worst enemies with our financial health.
I agree, and I think too that just even the conversation, talking about all of this downsizing and sacrifice and all of these steps can bring a lot of anxiety to people because it sounds like a lot, or they don't know where to start, or they don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to get rid of my stuff. I don't want to stop shopping. I don't want to stop eating out at nice restaurants. So, what advice can you give for that?
Yes.
I mean, how do you break that habit?
I would say you just have to do it, for one. Because, you have to commit because if you don't, you'll never do it. And so one of the things for me in my business was being really intentional about doing my profit and loss statement. And it was something that I had been putting off for a really, really long time. And a really good friend of mine really called me out on it. So accountability is also helpful. So tell somebody that you'd really like to do this. And one of the things for me is that I wanted to make a purchase I actually wanted to get cowgirl boots because it was something that I really, really wanted that I had never had, but I wanted somebody to help me because I wanted to make sure I got something that was going to fit me, that was, all sorts of things to that. And so I needed help. And so in her wisdom, she said, I will only help you if you get 1 month done of your P&L.
I love it.
And I was like, oh, man. And so you can take that same type of scenario and apply it to whatever. So, maybe it's, maybe you want ice cream, or maybe you want something else, and have somebody apply that. They're not going to help you with what you want until you do what you need to do. And it made me do it. The other thing that I did that was really helpful is I made it as enjoyable as possible.
Yeah.
So I listened to some of my favorite music while I was doing it. Yesterday I updated a whole bunch of stuff on the financial health of my business. And I watched a bunch of, gooey chick flicks the whole time I was doing it. But it was really enjoyable because I was just doing my thing and, watching Patrick Dempsey.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Exactly. So, I mean, make it as enjoyable as possible. Have that accountability, but you have to commit in order. So you have to be willing to cross that line, to just step over there, even if you don't really like it, because it will get better. And now, honestly, I didn't want to stop yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was, really, it's the first time I've ever really felt that. And it was because I felt so empowered.
Yes.
That, wow, look at all these things. Look how I would have made some decisions a little bit differently had I known this stuff was happening, or ahead of time, or all that sort of thing.
I think, too, just getting into the why of it all. Why do you want to make those changes? And it's not necessarily, I don't want to use the word superficial, but really just getting into your heart about what it is that you want to see differently and why. And maybe we all have dreams, we all have fantasies, we all have things that we think about and look at in our mind and wish that we had this or wish that we had that, but really get crystal clear on what that looks like and why you're wishing that you want that. One of those things for me when I was little was we lived in a really small house. My brother, sister, and I shared a room my whole life, and I was always embarrassed by our house. I never had friends over. And when we would drive to school, we would pass all these big, beautiful houses. And I would just, all the time, I would drive by these houses and look inside of them and pretend that I was sitting inside that bay window reading a book or playing basketball with my dad outside on that goal, or just whatever it was that I saw in the house that drew me in. And when my husband and I first bought the house that I mentioned earlier, it was a house just like what I had seen. And I didn't really notice that until after the fact, but your visualizations at some point in your life will come true if you can put yourself in those moments and really feel what that will feel like for you. But it will also concrete your why, and it will allow these steps that we're talking about to become much softer and easier for you, because now you have something so much bigger, and the how-tos become much easier, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking while you were talking is, again, and we've talked about this before, but the most growth that we experience in life usually do not come out of the most pleasant experiences. And so we need to be willing to go into some of those places that we think are dark, that really are not as dark as we thought they were, to really experience and to achieve the things that really are important to us.
When we shine light on those things, they really never tend to be quite as dark as we've told ourselves that they are. And like you mentioned, the empowerment that comes from really just grasping and taking control of something in a good way that is moving us forward. I mean, there's no better feeling.
There really isn't. Yeah, it's amazing.
I was looking online at some of Dave Ramsey's stuff. Are you a Dave Ramsey fan? He has some really great tips.
He does.
So we have to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk some more about financial health and some maybe baby steps and next logical steps that you can take to ease into the transition. Be right back.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Bringing out the smart talk now.
You're right.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Align Your Life show. Here with Heather Bischoff, and we're talking about financial health. Over the break, we were talking about how funny we human beings are because, many of us have jobs or have had jobs in the past where we take this very seriously. We want to be successful. Maybe we get up early and go in. We stay late. We work at our desk at lunch or skip lunch altogether. But we make sure what has to get done gets done. And we go above and beyond, but we don't take the same measures in our own life management or personal finances. And so we really have to apply some perspective to that. And a lot of it does have to do with emotions. It's, again, goes back to just conditioned things that we've been brought up to believe about ourselves. But, what we are talking about really on a whole is just breaking those patterns, breaking those chains and moving on and knowing that you can.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree 100%. And you were talking about Dave Ramsey.
Yes.
And Dave Ramsey is great. I mean, the tools that he has, his story is very inspirational. He has amazing tools that flow into all areas of your life, really. I mean, he has a meal, planning program, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of great information and tools out there, but if you don't apply it, it's not going to make an impact in your life. And it's really valuing yourself, your future dreams, your desires, the desires of your family, enough to have a real conversation with yourself and get a real picture.
Yeah, knowing in 3, 6, 12, 18 months, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, a short time frame and a long time frame, your life could be exponentially different if you really want it to be.
Absolutely.
And so you have to find what works for you. I know that you have some tools that work for you in your business and personal life, QuickBooks being one of them.
Yes.
We talked about how you used to use Excel. I just use Excel spreadsheets right now to track my expenses and things.
Excel is a great tool. And QuickBooks is also, it happens to be on sale right now. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. But in all honesty, whether it's QuickBooks or Excel, we have this awesome tool called YouTube that is free for everybody, and there is a ton of information out there. So if there's something specific that you're looking, like maybe you don't know how to use Excel, maybe you don't have a computer, just use pen and paper and a calculator. I mean, if you have a smartphone, you can absolutely do this. And it doesn't have to be anything very fancy. It doesn't have to be, really detailed. It can just be very, very simple starting out, because I started out with Excel and somebody had shared a template with me that I just kind of plugged in and it worked. And I learned from it, and it was a really good exercise. And, yesterday I imported everything into QuickBooks, and I could quickly see how there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And it was so easy. And these things don't have to be difficult. We make them more difficult because of our fear and our denial.
Good point. Do you work with people when you're coaching specifically with finances and stuff like that, or just what does that look like?
So I don't specifically work with them on finances, but I absolutely would recommend tools, and I recommend to people to at least have a clearer picture of what their financial,
forecast or budget.
Looks like. And so I've definitely made some referrals, to financial advisors and that type of thing. But it's just, we have the conversation because it's an important conversation to have, but I don't give any advice other than here's some tools. Yeah.
A friend of mine has a really simple way of managing her finances, and it's the way that her mom taught her when she was little, and it's the envelope
Oh,
system.
yeah.
And it's like
I think
you have
Dave
one
Ramsey
envelope.
does that,
Yeah,
teaches that.
I think he
Yes.
does. It's like one envelope, I think, for 10% of what your income is, you're saving, so much you're giving away or
Your
tithing.
play money.
Yeah, and then you have your bill money. So you know that every month, this is my bill money, bills are paid. And what a relief, you know,
Oh,
just
yes.
to know that your money is there and paid for, and you
Yes.
can sit down and write the checks or go online and click. Hopefully you're not writing checks anymore. Who does that? No, I'm just kidding. My husband does, and I give him
Yes.
heck all the time.
Yes.
Get online.
Yeah. It's a true story.
But no, find what works for you, because that's what works for him. And
Yeah.
but the the envelope system is a really simple system. If you
It's very
don't want to get
simple.
on Excel or QuickBooks,
Right.
start with something.
Well, and the
simple
thing
like
is that, Dave Ramsey's teachings back this up, but we spend cash way differently than we charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not even necessarily talking about debt forecasting. We're just talking about just have a clear picture of what you're spending your money on, how you're spending it, and is it something that's serving you?
Mm-hmm.
Because I guarantee that there's things that you can cut out that you're paying for that you're not even using. And so just by making some simple changes like that will make an impact in your financial forecast.
And it bleeds into so many other aspects of our life, our physical well-being, our relationships. If we're have a husband or a wife, our
Yeah.
I think the number one reason for divorce is money issues, and so money is very emotional and it is very energetic, but it can be so in a good way. And I think one of the things too that a lot of people have trouble with is feeling greedy if they're making a lot of money, or feeling like they do have to sacrifice in order to be a good person, and that's just not the case. This world is a better place when we have more wealthy people who are handling finances in a very responsible and loving way, because how you handle your finances is really how you treat yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's actually a book that's coming to mind. It's called Money is Love. If you don't like to read, it's like 90 pages. So
Short.
So it's very short. And if you do like to read, it's like an hour read. But it really changed my entire perspective about money. It kind of talks about how money came into, our human society way back before we were ever thought of. And it kind of brings it up to current. And it really does unpack the money is energy philosophy, where that comes from. It's just a great book. It's called Money is Love. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's $10 or less. It's a really great read, and even if you just do that, it's a step forward, and progress is progress.
Absolutely. Well, we are out of time, so I know you have some events coming up, specifically one wonderful one tomorrow that I'll be attending, and I have a friend coming too.
Yay! Yeah, so tomorrow night we are going to be at Practical Hypnosis in Fishers. It's just off of 116th Street. It's at 6:30. Yes, I believe so. Look up Practical Hypnosis LLC. You'll find it.
6 or 6:30.
Yes.
I think it's 6:30.
And so it's Cast Your Vision. And so essentially we are going to really be talking about vision boards and creating some vision boards and really kind of setting forth some intentions that we can manifest in your life for the rest of the year. So it's going to be lots of fun, very exciting. And
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else coming up?
I have lots of things that I'm working on. I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger on them yet, but there is lots of things coming. So definitely, go to dragonflydirection.com, look me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you will be able to check that stuff out. But there's a lot of stuff coming in
Awesome.
2016.
Exciting. I'm having a nutritional cleansing presentation here at the Wofford Theater next Tuesday at 6:45. So come hear how nutritional cleansing can assist you with your health goals, especially if you're feeling a little like you're plateauing with your New Year's resolutions. Start fresh. And I want to thank Jim Wofford, Logan Street Signs and Banners, and the Wofford Theater for always allowing us to be here each week with you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Heather will be back in 1 month on Tuesday at 2, and I'll be back next Tuesday at 2. See you then. Have a wonderful week, everyone.